All right, today we're going to crack open one of the most powerful and, yeah, one of the most dangerous concepts in the entire Linux operating system, the user known as root. So, let me kick things off with a question for you. Just imagine a system where one single user has the keys to the entire kingdom. They can install whatever they want, delete any file they want, change any setting. They have absolute total control. Who do you think that user is?
If root was your guess, you absolutely nailed it. This isn't just another user account we're talking about. It's the master key to the whole Linux environment.
So what exactly is root? Well, the simplest way to put it is this. It's the superuser account. And believe me, superuser is not an exaggeration here. It literally means this user operates above everyone and everything else, with completely unrestricted access to the whole shebang.
And what can this user do? Well, the scope of its power is kinda mind-blowing. Root can rewrite the fundamental rules of the operating system, install or rip out critical software, snoop around in anyone's personal files, create and delete other users on a whim, and even shut down the essential services that keep the system running. It is total, absolute control.
So what's the secret sauce here? How does the system know who the boss is? It all comes down to one simple number, 0. In the world of Linux, any user account that gets assigned the user ID or UID of 0 is automatically the superuser. That's it. It's the system's secret code for identifying the ultimate administrator.
Okay, I know all this talk about permission levels and UIDs can get a little abstract. So let's bring it back to earth with a simple office analogy to make it all click.
So picture this. A normal user, they're like a regular employee in an office. You can get into your own office, work on your own files on your computer, but you can't just stroll into the CEO's office or the main server room and start messing with things. But the root user, that's the IT administrator. They've got the master key card. They can get into every single room, access every computer, and of course, they have full access to the server room. That's the difference in a nutshell. But you know, having the keys to the entire kingdom, well, that comes with some serious responsibility. This kind of power isn't just a tool, it's also incredibly dangerous if you're not careful.
And I'm not kidding here. A single wrong move, one tiny typo as root, and you can permanently wreck the whole system. There's no "are you sure" pop-up that's going to save you, no undo button for a lot of these actions. One mistake can be catastrophic.
This command right here, it's pretty much the stuff of nightmares for system admins. When you run this command as root, you're telling the system to forcefully and without question delete every single file on the computer, starting from the very top. It's the digital equivalent of hitting the self-destruct button. Game over. Okay, so if logging in as root is like walking a tightrope with no net, how does anyone actually manage these systems? Well, thankfully, there's a much smarter, much safer way to do things, and it relies on a very special command.
And that command is sudo. It basically stands for superuser do. Now, the idea here is brilliant. Instead of becoming the all-powerful root user for your entire work session, sudo lets you just borrow its power for one single command. It's like checking out the master key for just one door, using it, and then putting it right back. Check this out. It's a perfect example. A normal user on their own can't restart the main web server. But by sticking sudo right in front of the command, they temporarily get the power they need to do that one specific administrative task. The power is granted, used, and taken away, all in an instant.
And this is the whole point, right? Using sudo is just so much safer. It dramatically cuts down on the amount of time you're wielding that absolute power, which means there's way less room for one of those catastrophic, system-breaking mistakes. Now, before we finish up, we've got to talk about something that trips up almost everyone when they're new to Linux. See, the word root actually means two totally different things, which can be super confusing.
So, on the one hand, you've got the root user. That's the superuser we've been talking about this whole time, the one with the user ID 0. But then, you also have the root directory. This is the very top level of the entire file system, and it's represented by just a /. Think of it as the trunk of a tree where all the other branches, all the other directories and files come from. So one is a person, the other is a place.
So putting it all together, why is this so important? Well, in the real world, system administrators are using root privileges almost always through sudo to do all the essential stuff that keeps systems healthy and running. We're talking installing security updates, managing services, configuring the network, adding and removing users, you name it. None of that is possible without the power of root. Which really brings us to the main takeaway here. The root user is an absolutely essential, necessary tool for managing any Linux system. You need that power to build and maintain things. But that power is also absolute, and you have to treat it with a ton of care and respect.
So I'll leave you with something to chew on. This whole dynamic, this idea that you need immense power to get things done, but that same power is also really dangerous, that isn't just a Linux thing. Where else in technology do we see this exact same critical balancing act between capability and responsibility? Something to think about.